Banter Podcast with Colin Geddis.
What the fuck's happening, people? Welcome to the General Banter Podcast. It's Thursday the 15th. This podcast isn't late because this podcast wasn't going to happen on Tuesday, but there was no Tuesday podcast because it's 2020 and life throws you some lemons sometimes, doesn't it? My guest today, the one and only Todd.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a connection between me and lemons and I can't.
You probably couldn't even eat a lemon, could you?
Lemons one of the...
You fucking wee poof. Well, we can't monetize this.
No,
Guy at YouTube's going, well, he said poof in the first 10 seconds.
Lemon's one of the 8 things I can't eat.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that would have just ripped straight through the crones and bled out your ass.
Nah. But hey, good to see you.
Good to see you.
What makes you bleed rectally?
Yeah.
Well,
welcome back to Anal Bleeding. My guest today, this young lady.
it's not... It's 9 o'clock at UTV. We join Colin Geddis to find out what makes your bum bleed. You wanna be at Connolly's of Moy.
Pineapples. They better going in or out? You tell me. I was just talking, sorry, on the last podcast, I was talking about like sort of NI celebrities type thing.
Yes.
I was talking about why are most of them weather people?
Well, weather...
I was scanning my brain. I was like, Frank, Barra.
Weathermen are the rock stars of here. People absolutely like if you had genuine musicians walking through, say, I don't know, Belfast International Airport, or you had Frank Mitchell and Barra Best, you would get way more photos.
You would kick
for the
Gary Lightbody into a fucking canal to get at Frank.
I think he'd go up in the air pretty easy, Lightbody. You know what I mean? Like I think once you got him up, I think he would take flight quite a lot.
Yeah, he's like one of those things outside a car dealership in America.
Yeah.
You know, he's lanky.
Yeah.
Have you had him in your podcast?
No. He did no get back to me.
Did he not?
No.
What a bastard. You probably slagged him on another thing, did you? Even though you've been to see them multiple times.
Yeah. If I lay here.
Snow Patrol's one of those things where I'm not into that type of music. Everyone likes them.
What, you don't like good music?
Well, seemingly not.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of Snow Patrol songs I like.
I mean, it works terrifically with moving image.
Yeah.
You know, I can see how I get used so much in TV and whatever. But I remember at a live I remember like when HMV was kind of closing and you could get live DVD performances for about £2 each. I was cleaning up.
Who were you getting?
Rage Against the Machine, live at the Democratic, whatever the fuck it was.
Democratic Republic of Congo?
Yeah.
I don't like watching. You know if they have. You've been.
They would do a gig there because it's so like, you know.
What?
You know, they're always like social justice. They'll be like, shout out to the pygmies. You know. Save the pig. I can't do his voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about? Democratic Republic of Congo?
We're talking about Snow Patrol and why they'll never do my podcast.
Well, the main song now of someone from here that's always used in TV and stuff is that Bicep song, Glue.
Yeah. I read a meme once and it said that's the wonder wall for people who take ket.
Yeah.
But it is such a like, you know, rich girl goes to uni for a week and she's like her whole music taste falls away and she's like, bro, that's it. But I remember, I mean, that is a good song. They have a load of belters, but and a good load of remixes also. But they, you know, it's like that AVA thing. People turn up at that and you're like, do you like this? Or do you think you should like this? Or are you absolutely up to the fucking eyeballs and ket?
Well, up until 12 seconds ago, I thought it was called Alpha Festival.
Okay, granddad. It could well be. I have no fucking idea.
Who's playing this Alpha? Is James Blunt doing a set? Or where is the Keen stage?
But that's when you know you're getting old, when you start suggesting like bands to younger people and they're like,
yeah.
My uncle said that to me once. Do you listen much to Keen? And I was like, no. If there's a full 6-piece band, no guitars, no thanks. You know what I mean?
Guy singing barefoot.
Yeah. And kind of fat. Don't bring any fat singers near me.
Do you know what? Keen had a song. Keen had all those like slow songs, but then they had one called Spiraling.
Did they?
Oh, belter. Niall, have you heard it? Oh, don't worry about it.
He takes it. We're like, what?
The bicep remix is somewhere only we know.
The whopped out remix. But that, going back to that ABA festival, you see the footage from that or any of those boiler room things, and you're like, this is miserable. I remember, like, what's his name? Is his name Phil Kieran?
I don't know. They're two first names. It wouldn't be. You're thinking of two separate guys.
No, if it's well known, like techno. But see, you can go such down a rabbit hole where, like, you know, someone might be like, I like techno, and you're like, that's Venga Boys, that's not techno. And then it gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And he was doing this set at that AVA thing, and I put it on just in the background, and I was like, I do not have the ear for this.
Yeah.
I was like, this is beyond just beats. Even I'm like, I don't know what it's like. Someone hitting a fucking corrugated iron roof. Just, I'm like, I don't get it.
But then I'm like that with music in general. I'm like that with rap now.
Yeah.
Drill. What is drill? I'm done with it. I put it on a playlist,
especially when it's from Dublin. You know.
Yeah. Who was that guy? Who was that guy? Did the video with Coolio? Do you know what I'm talking
about? Was
that
a diversity?
Dublin. There's a Dublin rapper.
Versatile. Diversity.
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
How much do you remember we saw Coolio?
Aye.
We should have asked him to turn the cameras
Phone
on
him
and
up.
do a vid.
Coolio, forgot to ask you, mate. Who was he doing that wee song? Aye. Versatility?
What about we were chatting to him? What did he say whenever we saw him in Botanic, you and me? And I mean, you're taking a risk by being like, that's Coolio, and just going out to a guy and be like, Coolio, and he's like, man, I'm from Lisburn. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but he's so, it's like going, is that Mr. T? Like, it's so fucking definitely him. And is that Shaq? Yes.
We were like, oh, good luck with the show, you know, doing comedy across the road if you fancy it after. And he said he might fucks with that, and he did not fucks with it.
No, he fucks off home. He fucked off the party, like a house party in West Belfast, taking a pile of gear.
Right.
But it was so funny, like it was like he was in prison, you know, like I'm not here to have fun, I can't trust anybody. Meanwhile, he's wearing knee-high yellow Converse, but he's like, I can't fucks with nobody. You're like, what's up? By the way, fuck you, because you went, let's go talk to him, and we both walked towards him, and then you just fell away, and I'm like, all right, Coolio.
I got really nervous.
Literally, like I just felt you slowing down. I just all of a sudden was in Coolio's face. I was like, Coolio, isn't it? What's happening, bro?
I mean, not the first time this has happened. I saw it whenever I was in tech. Ian Wright was walking down Great Victoria Street.
And you went like this? Is that Coolio? I went, no, that's Ian Wright.
He said, oh, here it goes. No, I was chatting to Ian Wright. I was like, oh, first of all, I went, all right, Mr. Wright. And he's like, don't fucking call me that, you weirdo. And for no reason, I said, I was like 16 at the time, I was like, we have to do a tech project about a sports person, which was true, but I wasn't doing Ian Wright for it. And I went, I'm doing you for it. And he looked at me like, you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, what are the chances you would see me? You're not doing that. But
I was trying to think of who do you play for Arsenal?
Yeah.
Who played for them around that time? Bergkamp?
Thierry Henry, Bergkamp.
You're like,
you wouldn't be choosing Righty.
You're like, All right,
Nigel Winterburn, mate.
I'm doing a project about sports people. He gets all interested. You're like, get Bergkamp on the phone now.
Dennis Bergkamp would never fly. Wouldn't fly. Wouldn't go to away.
They call him the non-flying Dutchman.
Yeah, true.
they call him the sailing Dutchman.
That's very quick.
I'm a quick guy. But here, what was I going to say? Do you remember Ian Wright did a slide tackle, burst a ball one time? Do you remember that?
As in the football or one of his? No?
Sent off. I remember. I think I'm 100% sure it was him. You need to look it up.
He did a slide tackle, burst his own ball. Is that what you're saying?
Burst the football.
Oh, I thought you said he did a slide tackle and burst one of his testicles. So I was like, how the fuck would that happen? No, I don't remember that. The right one
as well.
I don't remember
that. You need to look it up. Nearly 100% sure. Big slide tackle, ruptured the football.
Google Ian.
Ian Wright bust balls.
Here, have you ever seen Paul Scholes' dick? Have you?
Not in a while.
Google Paul Scholes' dick. It fell out during a game, and it's the funniest thing on the internet.
Is it angry and ginger?
Google Paul Scholes' dick.
It's amazing that there isn't dicks falling out all over the place in sport.
Yeah.
Which there kind of is, actually, now that I think about it. But it's up the way.
It looks like him in like thick form.
It might as well have a number on its back. What about that kit though? Do you like that kit?
I prefer seeing his wee Willard hanging out.
Willard.
Why'd you call a boner playing football? I mean, I like football, but I don't like it that much.
I've rubbed alcohol in my eye. Oh, it's fucking hilarious. I remember playing rugby once and being over the top.
With a boner.
Full erection. Just being over the top of a rock and like it collapsed a bit and some guy was on the bottom and like was trapped under a pile of bodies. With same scenario, shorts to the side and his fucking just flaccid cock and balls are about here and I was just stuck. Well, just gotta wait this one out. But it's mad for, football's mad for boys just pissing all over the place. And I've never played a match in any sport when I was younger where I had to stop and piss or pop my dick out the side and piss or...
Have you ever needed to piss on stage?
Not to the point where I'd have to leave, no.
Yeah, but isn't that weird that you don't? Because you're on stage for an hour.
But I talked about this with Tom the Bear. He was like, you could be fucking throwing up blood and shitting, but as soon as you have to go on, it just goes away nearly.
Yeah. I remember doing...
Have you ever nearly had to leave the stage for anything?
No.
Once I was in fucking I was in Ballymena and I legit think I had a fucking panic attack on stage, like real like.
Oh, that was I remember you telling me that your tour show.
Yeah, like real like.
Were you feeling like anyway before you went on?
I think I was just exhausted and whatever time of year it was. In fact, that time was when we were in Galway and stuff like that. Remember me and you didn't drink, went on a bunch of wee gay dates.
Yeah.
But like. It was very stressful because Maureen was like so pregnant. I was like, I'm gonna have to go. Right. It was like so edgy.
Yeah,
because I think it was around that time. I was just fucking wrecked.
But that I remember like being stressed about that myself because, I was doing gigs around the time we were having the baby, but in like Belfast, it would have taken me 25 minutes to get home. Mm-hmm. And you're in Galway being like, if she goes, I'll have to leave quickly. I was like, yeah, to do a 3.5-4 hour drive, like.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful.
My big regret about that festival is what I wore for that TV taping. I was so uncomfortable.
What was it?
I was wearing like
a mankini?
Brown boots, jeans, and then like a shirt that like a 60-year-old ex-mob guy would wear.
Right.
Like a Hugo Boss shirt, like with too many buttons on that. I was so uncomfortable. And
I can't even really remember that.
Fuck, it was terrible.
I was wearing a fucking Hawaiian shirt in the dead of winter, so that's even more embarrassing.
See festivals now. I don't know if I'd do another one. Like it would have to be something fun.
I think.
See, just driving far to gigs in general, or I always have this thing of like maybe I'll go over to London, the odd weekend and do club shows, and I can never see myself. I just love doing stand up here.
Yeah, I think things are definitely changing. See with like lockdown and whatever, and you step back a bit from it a wee bit, and you're like, I've always thought like this, even when I was doing like Blender stuff. I was like, am I going to do this forever? And doing stand up, I'm like, I'm doing it now that Eddie's young and it's still pretty successful and whatever. But I'm like, every year you just try and push it and push it and push it and push it because it's gonna get fucking exhausting at some point. And I don't love it that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we stopped doing gigs there, I wasn't like fucking man. I know people are like that. Mickey's a bit like that, where he's like such a natural performer that he's like, I would do a gig in the fucking toilet. He would do it anywhere. Whereas I'd be like, nah.
I was so keen to get back to it, but then I just took the first couple of months of it just to write and go over the set and look at everything I'd written up to that point that I was doing currently and go, can I make that funnier? And the answer to all of it is obviously yes.
Yeah.
So like I think the first gigs I was doing back, they're the best gigs I've ever done, nearly. Like consistently the best gigs I've ever done, because I had a chance. Like I've been doing stand-up for 13 years without really a break. Obviously at the start you're not doing it full time, it's more of a hobby. But you're not like every week you're doing sets. Yeah. So this was the first time I ever had a chance to go, can I do this better, or is that... Because it was always like, it's like going year to year. Yeah. It's like, get the show ready, go on tour, and then straight away I'm getting the next show ready. Yeah. So having a break to step away from it and go... Because I looked at watch back so much of the stuff, and I was like, I'm telling 11-minute stories here. And if someone loses interest in the first quarter of that, either watching it or in the audience...
Yeah, it's hectic.
You're bored, like. Yeah. So I just start trying to make everything way quicker.
All of mine's underdeveloped. I don't develop anything, and I think My
But
stuff,
there's a balance, like.
there is, but there's like, anytime I do stuff where I feel I'm like, fuck, I was good, it's like the first time I've done it. Like, see when I would turn up the Laveries and go, shit, I've no stuff, and then there's like 2 notes in my phone, and I scribble some shit down, and then go on stage and like let the adrenaline take it, which will kill me at some point, like fucking stress. But that's always when it's the funniest. I couldn't sit there and be like, right, let me just fucking comb the thoughts here and see what I can find. It's never good. It has to be like I've joked around here before. I was like, if I could just go on stage with a clipboard, you'd get fresh stuff every time. Which I don't see the problem with. I don't know why everyone's gone down the route of like, this is how stand-up is. You go up and you pretend like you've just made it up on the spot. Why can't you just go up and be like, these are things I've written down. Bang, 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 bang. Yeah.
No, I think you can, and I think
people want this polished like theatre show.
But I don't, as a punter, I don't want that. You have bits of people's material that you like, and you're like, oh, I hope he does this bit that I've seen. There's bits whenever we started, you started doing stand-up. If you were like, I'm going to do this bit, I'd be like, oh, that's one of my favourite bits. Yeah. But at the same time, I always want to hear people's new stuff. Yeah. But I think my stuff was underdeveloped, plus I was getting too distracted on stage. So I was this bit was leading me down this path, and it took me ages to get back from it. Yeah. And I just had way more bad habits than I thought it did. I think for my stand-up, lockdown is a big turning point for me with my stand-up.
Wow. And you think that would happen to other people, and then some people you see and you're like, well, nothing's changed.
I can't understand people stand-ups that are like, I just haven't written anything over lockdown. I don't get that.
Yeah, I think if you're like an operating comedian, it's gonna naturally happen. Like I'm like, I don't even know if I'm that fussed on fucking stand-up or writing or whatever. But if the weeks and months go by, the file on my phone, it's like notes. Yeah. Or bits, it's called. It'll have fucking like 12 points in it or something that I'm trying to. But then I'll come up with bits on podcasts. I'll do like a general ranter. I'll have an idea for something where I'm like, the premise for this sketch would actually work as a bit of material, and you can nearly, you know what I mean? So there's stuff going out. Course, stuff going out, but you're not like, sitting in a cafe daydreaming like, oh, what's funny about fucking toasters?
Like my writing before this with stand-up was always, I'm going to write every day. Even if I don't have any idea, I'll force something out. And even if it was 10 minutes of writing or an hour of writing, I was doing something. And now what I think works better for me is I do it in blocks. So I might have a couple of weeks where I'm writing for hours a day. Yeah. Then I might just not write for a month. But that's okay, because I'm still thinking about that stuff, or I'm performing the stuff I was doing. But like doing sketches, podcasts, obviously, it's just a good way to always have, like, if you just do stand-up, which obviously I respect anyone who's like, I just want to do stand-up, doesn't want to do podcasts or sketches or anything, that's fine. But over this whole period, you've been as creative as you would have been, because you are doing podcasts, because you are doing sketches. That's why,
anyone
who hasn't, if you haven't done any writing, any gigs, if you haven't done anything over this, and then you're going to do stand-up again, you're going to have regressed so much. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to face going back to do stand-up again if I hadn't done anything stand-up wise since March.
You needed like a bit of a reset, and like an audience will forgive you if you're like, I did the gig here in the office, and I was like, I'm not doing any old stuff because it's so fucking forced now. It's like, man, what about Irish Robinson?
Yeah. Well, that's why I started putting up clips from the Limelight shows, because if I don't get to tour this until next October or summer or whenever, I'm looking through that and going, well, that's very relevant now. That's topical now, so I just put it out.
I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I'll write a good bit. I mean, we've had issues with lighting at the Limelight, so I've fucking no footage, but hours of footage, can't see any of it.
His fault. I mean, not at all. But.
Totally Niall's fault. Can't even hear me. No. But it's quite funny. I don't think he can hear me. He's like, listen to something else. Fucking useless. Can you hear me? I don't think there's any point in hanging on to anything now.
No.
I think if you have a funny bit and it's gonna work that week, put it out, because by the time someone comes to see you in the fucking waterfront and you're doing like an hour and 20 or something.
You can see that bit again as long as
It'll just fall into the set, like.
Yeah. If you've seen the whole set, that's not giving people value for money. But if there's bits here and there, sometimes stuff is way funnier hearing it the second time, third time.
I also think there's just like certain rules in comedy that have come about, like, oh, you put an hour out every year, or you do this, or a show should be 60 minutes. And I don't think any of that's necessarily true. Like,
well, what I liked about your show in the SSE was no support. When you first said that, I was like, surely have someone on before you. But doing the two halves, I've always been like against that. But I think that worked really well.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think they're paying to see you. And I know you're trying to make it a show, but they'd anyone you'd rather see more of them. It's like if you went to see a band and they were like, right, here's a fucking support playing for half an hour that you don't know and don't give a shit about. We play like fucking 20 minutes extra at the end. Yeah. So, you'd rather see more of what you've paid for than some other shit. Unless it's like a double header type setup. But
I think doing a show every year feels normal to me at the minute. But then if there's a year, like next year, if I don't, or the year after, if I'm like, shit, I don't have it, I wouldn't force doing it.
Nah, I
think that's a danger where we know people who have done stand-up for 25, 30 years, and you see like, older guys and girls that are in their 50s or whatever, and they're at the Fringe every year, and you're like, you're just doing that for the sake of doing,
Well, I think, Mickey's that way, where I think every year he's like, I swear to God, man, it's the last fucking year. But you're like, all you're going to do is sit at home for all of August going, fuck, I wish I was at the Fringe. You're like, it's part of your routine now. You just can't not go.
I told you about how I fucked up. I remember I thought I had the magic formula for doing the Fringe. So I was like, I'm going to do...
Is this when you paid a guy to do paperwork?
No, I did 2 shows in a day at the Fringe. I was like, I'm going to do 2 shows at the Fringe, 70-seater venue, but instead of doing the whole month and getting 20, 30 people in a day, maybe selling out weekends, I'm just going to do 2 packed shows. I'm going to fly into Edinburgh for one night and then fly home. And I'll meet up with my comedian friends there, have a nice lunch, dinner, whatever. And I'll book a nice hotel because you stay in a shithole, inevitably. I was like, I'll treat myself to a nice hotel. So tickets were like 15 quid. Both the gigs sold out. It was a Friday, I think. Lovely. Weather was good. Get there, check into my hotel. Met like Mickey for lunch, Aaron and Robbie for dinner. It was brilliant. Did the 2 shows, class. Flew home. I was like, I've probably made...
cheated the system here, guys.
I got a statement saying something about 900 quid. So I was like, made 900 quid. Hotel for Edinburgh, there in the Fringe, 350 quid. I was like, don't need to worry about that. I've made 900, covered my fees. It's fine. Flew home. I was like, brilliant. But a month later, went to invoice for it. And I hit them with the invoice and then got it back. And the guy's like, I don't understand this. And I was like, oh, well, it's just I did the gigs, sold them out.
I don't understand
Here's what it is. Guy phoned me. He's like, there's a bit of confusion here. I was like, what's going on? He goes, yeah, you need to pay us that £900. I was like, I don't, mate. I sold out the gigs there. I flew in for one night. I flew home. Just give me the money, please. And he's like, yeah, but with rental, your show went into the brochure, this, and this. He's like, £900. And I was like, you can't do Edinburgh the right way. There's no such thing unless you maybe do the free Fringe.
People are like, oh, it's the biggest arts festival in the world, and they're like, yeah, because people know what a fucking racket it is.
Oh, it's a trade show. It's like a exhibition, like a wedding exhibition show. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's like you'd have to be a big name to be making money at the Fringe.
Yeah,
you need to be like Jason Byrne selling that fucking. Was it McEwen Hall or something? Like 1,100 seats every night for fucking 30 days.
Foil Arms and Hog probably are one of the few acts that clean up at the Fringe.
Yeah, totally. And they're such a Fringe act too. That's you know what I mean? Like, they really do well there.
Yeah, and the same people.
Because there would be fucking 1,000 people trying to be Foil Arms and Hog, and it's fucking miserable to watch.
Yeah.
But they nail it. But yeah, everybody's in on it. Like, I'm sure you turn up on like at the end of July, and people are outside the restaurant just putting their prices up by
adding zeros on
by like a tenner. And people, we stayed in the flat the one year I did it. I knew I wouldn't be back. I was like, this is not. I wouldn't do fucking Lavery's 30 days in a row, or you know what I mean. It's like just fucking boring. I don't like that. Like having to get up every night and do the same shit. I don't like it. But
I like the idea of, and this is something that maybe look at like year after next or sometime, instead of doing like a big venue, of doing a small venue. but you do it like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 shows Friday, 2 Saturday. You know what I mean? A small venue, almost like a residency kind of thing. I think that'd be good. Like.
Yeah, totally.
I liked it, like doing those Run Limelight shows that we did. I like that. I like going down there for the same time every night. And yeah, you were doing the same stuff, but I think because stand-up had been away for so long,
Do you
it didn't matter.
two shows a night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I did, because if I make a mistake or I'm like, I slipped on that delivery or I got that wrong, I love the chance of having to put it right straight away.
But I don't think that the hustle and bustle of that, of actually being there, it's hard to correct anything in between. You know, you don't really get time to reflect or think about it even. It's very much like in blah, blah, what time you got that, you got to play. You know, it's a lot of shit going on. And then you're like, right, back on. You're like, fucking change your t-shirt, straight back out.
I fucked up my times to the last night. Mickey, was it Mickey? No, Aaron Butler and Mark McCartney were on.
Two cunts.
And then we went for a coffee in between the shows up in Botanic. Stroll back as like the second show starts at 10:30. Don't worry about it. Dino from Shine phones me at like 10:15. We're walking down the road, Limelight's on. He's like, "Where are you?" I was like, "Just having a coffee, mate." He's like,
"Having a coffee, mate."
He goes, "There's a show happening," and I thought he's messing about. I was like, "Yes, I know." He goes, "No, it was supposed to have started like 10-15 minutes ago."
Yeah.
And the three of us just sprinted down the road to Limelight.
You think he'd have fucking give you a heads up, but
no, it's my fault because I was like, "Here, the gig, the second."
They're very much like that. Like, you know, I've done a lot of gigs in the Limelight now. You know, they fucking people are, you know, like they assume I fucking work there half the time.
Yeah.
And you know, he'll be like sitting there, and he'll come up like 10 minutes later. I'm like, "Are you not coming down?" You're like, "Oh, I thought someone might have give me a shout or something."
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
I like
go down and do your own lights and go on.
I like to be like, whenever I parked outside here, I like to be fetched.
Yeah.
I like someone to come and fetch me. Like, ideally to lift me.
Well,
that's
what I realized after the last one was I should have had someone like chaperone me to my car.
Like a Sherpa.
Yeah. If someone turned up with a fucking llama with a load of bags on it,
they
were just like, "Can you take me to the car?" Because you would come out.
I got taken to the car.
I would like that, because I went out and there was like a bunch of fucking hoods there, and the guy's like, "He's the one you were slamming about the fucking drugs and on. He's just out of fucking somewhere with fucking and I was like, "Cool." And the guy goes, "Get a photo of me or I'll fucking jump you." And I was like, "Here, first of all,
he's just been stabbed. Will you give me an autograph?"
Yeah. Mate, I can't believe they kicked me out of there for selling coke in the toilets. Fucking times have changed. Let me get a photo with you.
Can I crash at yours bar here or not?
I got 4 cans of green in the fucking in a Buddha Nova that I stole. Oh my god.
Yeah. So what happened was, the reason I want you want to sort of bypass people on the way out is people have pints and they'll be like, "Get a photo," and you can't be like, "Oh, remember, we can't do that." Like, because this was in the middle of the show.
That's what I wanted to avoid.
So if someone gets that photo, like, you know, Stevie Nolan, he's like, "Listen, this guy after the shows, he's getting his fans in headlocks and all." You don't want that.
Yeah.
So Dino drove. He was waiting in a car. I like got like bundled out, you know, like bouncers like threw me into the car, and then he just drove me around the block to my car. It was great. I just want that always to happen.
That's, I mean, you know, it's like people would see, you know, like, you know, you would see like, say you saw someone, you're like, "Oh, come look at this fucking diva getting like rushed to the car and away," but it's like it takes one person to fucking hold you back for 10-15 minutes. Like one person, and they're all steaming and they're fucking all over you, chatting shit and all, and you're like, "I just want to go home right now." So you do need someone to just take you out and fucking or bring you in the building. Like, do you ever be walking about like when I went to fucking Hot Water, I went up to the guy and I was like, "Hi, we're on the Late Show," and the guy's like, "Okay, you're not allowed in until the show is over," and I'm like,
"Yeah, I am."
You know, "Is there a green room?" "Yeah, but this show's not finished yet," and I'm like, "Well, my fucking like sold out show is on. Can I not sit out the back?" "No, I'm afraid not." And then I had to go to the fucking Turkish coffee shop and sit there while the queue of people were outside the window and everyone's on their phone like this here. "Oh, fucking get us there. Look, like, are you playing next door?" And I'm like, "I can't fucking get in."
Like a gorilla.
Yeah.
Throwing shit at people in the queue.
I did just have a banana that I broke in the middle. Just waiting. But it was like, yeah, you need like a bit of a, because I know you're a fan of that. You'll go and do a gig somewhere and fucking Jay would have been at the venue already setting shit up and
And I'm
come
just,
get me. Whereas I just fucking turn up going, is this it? Can I go on?
I arrive.
Do you need a mic, big man?
I arrive an hour before.
Yeah.
Full juicy couture velour tracksuit.
Yeah, tear away ass.
Kombucha, is that what it's called? What do you call that? That like, you know, that like South American coffee.
Your Sherpa?
With the metal straw. Me, Kombucha, and Jay would show up, and I like to walk in, and I'll just say thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
And if it's a thumbs down, they got to renovate the venue.
Yeah.
Like quickly get some handymen in, redecorate.
Your mate Nick Knowles comes in.
Quite that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, did that BBC stand-up show.
He's like me. Me and Nick Knowles always look wrecked. Like he always looks like the fucking morning after a wedding. Trying to hold it together. All right.
You have the look of a guy who's just renovated a bungalow for a divorced mother of 4.
In 60 minutes.
I mean, you know, that show went out on like actual BBC One. I was like, this is great. I was happy with my set. Maybe, you know, you'll get some nice feedback on Twitter and all. I mean, one person, and it was Nick Knowles. If it's going to be one person, you want it to be Nick Knowles going, big man, enjoyed it.
Is that serious? You got no feedback on Twitter apart from one thing?
No, like less than a dozen people.
Like that, like you would probably get more tags and stories and whatever from a podcast.
Oh, big time.
Than appearing on national television.
Yeah, because also like on a podcast, people,
that went out regular. Obviously, it went out regular BBC. Yeah. Also, those other chicks. Who are you?
Do you know what the thing about that was? You're
not a black woman.
Well, get ready for this reveal.
We did see the size of my dick.
The girl who was on before me, Rachel Fairburn, was absolutely brilliant. But say about halfway through the taping, people had left because it was late. You know what I mean? Like not half the people. I was getting ready to go on and could see some people walking out, and I was like, oh no, that's not what you want to see.
Yeah.
But she just went on at the wrong time. Like I was basically saying, I was like, the comedy scene here, I was like, if you were doing a gig in Lavery's or Pugs or whatever, you'd love it and you'd absolutely kill it. But it was just, I think, because it was outdoor.
She did well though.
Oh, really well, yeah. Real, like, just fucking experienced comedian.
Yeah.
But whenever I was walking the stage, a couple of people passed me and they're like, we're away here. Like, as I'm being called to go up.
How like,
it's
it's supposed to be TV and it's kind of be, you know, like a controlled environment, and it's still Northern Ireland. They're like, I'm shooting on here, taxis here. Shane, good lad, well, good luck with set.
And it's my dad. See it does. Yeah, I mean, so I thought I'll just go on like this is like I'm recording a Def Jam special and the lady, you know, go on like this is the
drop
best.
a few N-bombs, talk about barbershops.
And weirdly they cut those out, but but I was like I'll just have fun, and it was good. Like
that's good. The best. That was like similar to the Galway shooting thing because we're not from down south, so it was such a fucking big deal for a lot of people on there, and you could see it in their eyes. They were fucking pacing up and down, sweating, and
yeah.
Everybody was really rigid, and all the me, you, and Mickey didn't give a flying fuck. You know what I mean? We're just like
could have done without it.
Not my first fucking 10-minute telly.
But you know what the thing with that?
Yeah, because you were being like restricted a wee bit.
What my mistake? But I died on my arse on that, and the reason is I went down. Say the recording was at like 5 o'clock. They were doing it in 3 sets with the same crowd. I was on last on the whole day. So why did I go down at the same time as her? I should have arrived down half an hour before the set.
You had to sit through all that shit.
But I'm watching everyone be nervous. I'm watching people come off, do well, do bad. And I got knackered by the time I went on. Audience are tired. And that's the difference, because at that BBC One thing, even though I knew people were tired and stuff, I went on like, this is the only, you know, this is it. But with that one, and I did badly on that, and it's no coincidence, because I went on like, you're tired, I'm tired, let's just get this done. I'm wearing weird boots. What do you think of my shirt?
It's like watching a fucking like a race, and everyone's crossing the line like knackered, and you're doing it like in an hour. You're like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the result of this. Yeah. But yeah, none of us give a fuck, I don't think. And just, I've done that a few times before. It's a good like lesson in life. You know, when someone's like, man, you're not allowed to do this, not allowed to do this, and you're like, but I usually do it this other way. Do it your way. Because I've seen, like, even Edinburgh doing gigs on that bus years ago, and, you know, Paddy McDonald, of all people, who you think wouldn't give a fuck, went up and like was thrown off because there was like kids on the bus.
Oh, right.
And he tried to censor himself, which is just not in him. And he just struggled a wee bit. And I remember going like, listen, these people aren't going to see me again. here come the fucking pedo jokes.
Yeah.
And did really well because like I addressed it and just went through it. So it's like one of them things. It's like you gotta just do you, baby. And
You get told at festivals, especially a couple of like local ones I've done, they would say, listen, there's going to be kids in the tent because it's like during the day.
Yeah.
Watch the language, and you can see the parents nervous at the start. The parents want you to do. They actually want you to do like dirtier stuff than you would normally do because they love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the kids aren't listening.
Yeah.
And the parents are like, been watching fucking,
obviously, if you're bringing a kid to a fucking comedy tent or something, you know that you got to be all right with it. You're not turning up being like, let's hear some jolly japes, and then you start talking about fucking Jeffrey Epstein. They're like, Jesus Christ!
One of the funnest experience I had was doing. It wasn't Stand Hall. It was something else festival, and it was like a big barn. Sunflower, and it was like 70% kids, and this like
on request
6. You got my rider. This like 6 or 7 year old guy just like walked on stage, and he went, "I'll tell a joke." And we did about like a 15-minute thing, like he would tell a joke, and I was like criticizing his joke. At one point, he left, and I was like, you're walking away and stuff. Then he came back with, people have those like emu suits where you put your legs into it looks like you're riding one. He just came back on stage at one of those, and I killed. And I was like, fuck, you had to bring the emu suit. And then his sister came up and started punching me. I was like, this is great fun. Like, I love this shit.
Then you walked off, came back on with no trousers.
Yeah.
You're not one up the Toddster. Fuck that.
Nah.
Comedy.
Fun.
Do you miss it? No. How long have we been talking for now?
40 minutes.
40. There's a lot of questions for you on the Patreon. I'll put the questions up on the Patreon. Shall we skim through them?
Do it.
23, is that... who's that?
I don't know anything about basketball. I just think it looks cute.
Yeah. Was it send the back?
James.
Oh.
Fella bought it from Jamesy.
Jamesy.
North.
Wee Jimmy.
Gumtree.
Jimmy Brent.
Yeah.
Is it right?
No, it's LeBron. LeBron James.
I wish I had been a bit more into basketball or knew a bit more about Kobe. Seems like a fucking cool guy.
Yeah.
Real cool guy. He's got that Mamba mentality, man. That's all I need to know.
Mamba number 5.
Yeah. This is a photo I put up. Remember that?
Was that Dave's wedding?
That's Davey's wedding.
That's so blocked.
Well, what happened was that, their speeches were a bit lengthy. Shout out. I mean, let's face it, they were long, and Mickey was stealing the table wine from the bar because he was like, I can't wait, and I don't want to ever get near sobriety. So he was stealing the wine, and then they were turning the room around, and Woodsy was like,
Nick Knowles.
Knowles is back, fucking shattered looking. Like Post Malone, fucking knackered under his eye.
Why doesn't he give himself a 60-minute makeover?
Give him a 60-minute rest. You fucking. He's burning it at both ends, and burning his face at both ends. But didn't make sense. But Woodsy was like, sorry, I have a bottle of whiskey for you from your birthday, and I was like, when? He goes, 2011. He'd had this bottle. He'd had this bottle of whiskey for like my fucking 21st
in his pocket
for years. It's on the room, sir. And we went up, and Maureen had the cold or something, and she was, like waiting all day. She was starving. By the time she ate, she was just like, I'm fucking exhausted, and just went to bed. And I went, you fucking. And then I was like,
tie around the head.
To get them glasses on that Dave always had. And we went to Woodsy's room for what felt like a full evening's drink, like 8 hours. But it was only like probably an hour.
Yeah.
And drank all the whiskey. And Mickey was so blocked he went home. His ma picked him up.
That's right. I remember that.
And Woodsy had all tins of carling in the bath and everything. And we just got absolutely hammered. Expecting like, we're going to fucking slow motion walk into this party. You know what I mean? And we went back down, and they were kind of still setting up the band. And we were like over at the bar, like, okay, fucking 2 more double Jameson, please. But I could not get drunk. I was like, and then went out the back and smoking pile of joints and whatever. There was no drugs involved, but you know what I mean.
I just, Mummy should have known when to call it a night. But I was like, no, I'm gonna just push through this. And there's a video of me and Dave. The DJ's playing Erasure, A Little Respect, or it could have been the band.
Yeah.
And I'm like hanging on Dave's shoulders, singing it to him, but way too intensely. Someone's videoing, and I'm like, get us singing this and all. But I'm like too like, give a little respect, Dave, respect me. Like way too into it.
Trying to kiss him. But it was a good thing for your wedding then, because you know, band playing a couple songs, whatever, and then they just drop like a few 90s dance hits. Everyone goes fucking buck mad for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, no one ever learns with weddings. It's like, let everyone have a full evening of drinking, then let them play their own songs. Then that's when the night starts nearly. But that's when the bar fucking cuts you off.
But that was the thing about ours was the bar. Say they stopped closing at 12. We're like, start the rave at 11, and then at 12 you have to leave. So there's no, like, that's what the worst part about weddings is, the like hanging about.
Yeah.
Like, should we? Everyone's like, can we like fuck off here or what? And people are
sometimes
just
it is good to just tell people like, you're out of here at 12 or whatever. Yeah, like our wedding was like fucking. That was the dangerous part of it. It was like free drink and no one's really sending you home.
Yeah.
But it was fucking. I'm just trying to think now. Yeah, it was good times, man. Good times. Good photo there. You got a cigar. Probably threw up after that, did you?
Yeah. It's fake.
At the doctor's the next morning. Did that give me wrinkles right away? I did a tobacco. If you could tell your pre-COVID self one thing, what would it be? I didn't get COVID. Not yet.
Oh, like you mean before this all started, or?
Yeah, like
I did the antibodies test.
Yeah?
Yeah, and the guy was like, listen, he took my blood.
You have a body like someone's auntie.
Fuck you. Anytime you call me Ellen DeGeneres, that fuels my workouts. I just listen to that on repeat in headphones.
A lot of people say that, and I don't think that's that. I think that's a lazy joke. That you look like Ellen DeGeneres.
It's lazy and accurate, and also
You look like Claire Balding with AIDS. You look like
fuck
Tilda Swinton.
Fuck yes. I look like I look like a tall Greta Thunberg.
Graham Thunberg.
Yeah, he doesn't really care about the environment as much.
No.
He's like fucking
No.
littering.
Sure, fucking you need straws, don't you?
I had a sketch, I don't think it would work or be too sensitive, about like Anne Frank's ignorant cousin who got them all caught.
Right.
Just being really like, what's for dinner? You know, just really like knocking things about and slamming doors.
Is Anne in? No.
Slamming doors and all. I hope I don't get caught.
Oh, fucking Nazis! Ooh! There we gay birds and all! Fuck up with you! I mean, the worst fucking...
Going through all his ringtones on his phone.
Is that too loud? This one is polyphonic. The worst place for that to be is like Amsterdam.
What do you mean?
That fucking Anne Frank's house.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because you know, who gives a fuck?
Oh, how ignorant of her to have lived in Amsterdam and spoil your
Well,
tourist
you know what I mean?
experience.
It's like, do you want to smoke weed and bang
Fucking
hookers?
buzzkill.
Or do you want to go see her thing? And you're like,
Hey,
is it on Google?
do all three in the same place?
Yeah. Just fucking riding some fucking prostitute in the arse. How did she fit in there? Jesus. It is echoing. Did you have any anxieties pre-COVID that you would have told yourself?
No. Honestly, I'd say to myself, and this is...
What would Jesus do?
No, honestly, I would say, I'd say to myself, you will come out of this physically looking better than you went in.
Really?
Yeah. I'm at my peak looks-wise right now.
Okay.
And I'm comfortable, and I need to be brave and accept that as a man. So I would say to myself, you're going in an 8.
Yeah.
You're coming out in 8.3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good turnaround.
Yeah. So if there has been any victory in this whole time,
Yeah.
it's that I think I look better.
Okay. I mean, people are dying, but that's important too.
Yeah. It just, you know.
Yeah. You look great.
Thanks.
Have you been lifting?
Yeah.
At home?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got a gym in my driveway basically, but there's like houses being built beside ours, so the builders overlook what I'm doing quite a lot. So sometimes I feel like stupid doing it. I think they're looking at me and being, oh my god, look at this fella. So
Just when you're greasing yourself up and cutting the legs off your jeans.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I really do, like I would work out, but the only thing I do really is just lats. Just lat raises all day.
Yeah.
That's all what I'm
Just
about.
Romanian deadlifts.
Yeah.
With your ass out.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Juicy Couture Sport range.
Tearaway ass. Can we get a full review of Cobra Kai season 1 and 2?
Oh,
have you watched it?
Yes.
Missing the Boy Time podcast. Oh yeah. That came to an end.
Yep.
Sad. Or is it just like not
sad? Yeah, it was just. So Dave selfishly works during the day to provide dinners for his family, which I think is out of order. And I was wanting to like do this kind of thing, podcast, record stuff during the day.
Yeah.
So I would have to like work during the day and then also go out at night, a night a week to do it. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it was just you're balancing like two people's schedule, and then Ben, who was recording it, and it was just like also with obviously COVID and stuff, it just became, by the time we actually sat down to do it, I'm looking at my watch being like, I have to leave at this time. Someone's had to rush here. There was 2 weeks in a row, and this sounds like wee violins. I was eating my dinner driving down to the studio. One
of Dave's children's dinners.
Yeah, but it was just like, you know, the good thing, like there was zero. It was funny as people are like, I think it goes to a full night. You know what I mean? It's like people. There was a weird Twitter account that always was like, you two pretend to be best friends, and I was like, but what are we getting out of that? You know what I mean? Like, could you imagine me and Dave?
You're not like Ant and Dec, where you got fucking £10 million fucking contracts or something.
Me and Dave do the radio show as soon as 7:30, as soon as the off-air sign goes off. I'm like, I'm away.
Yeah.
You know, so it was the right time to stop doing it, but we'll probably do it. We can do it again at some point.
Yeah.
Dave wants to go full time stand up. If it's just a timing issue, that's all it is.
Yeah. Was it like, I don't know what the stats were. Was it bigger than yours separately, or is it about the same, or is it like? Do you know what I mean? Like if it was like fucking huge
at its peak,
and then you were like just stuck with your own kind of, or is your own bigger? I have no idea.
It is now, but that probably because I'm doing 2 a week. But Boytown about a year and a half, 2 years ago, like peaked for us, and it was really consistent listens, doing well, and then we took. The first time we did Radio Ulster, we did a 6-week break to go and do that.
Yeah.
Because we were like, we'll burn through things to talk about.
Yeah.
But when we broke for like a month and a half, never recovered those listens back.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, it took us so long to build that up.
Yeah. I think in the podcast game, it's like, now I'm a bit scatty these days, but like it's just consistency. Like if you can tell people this will be out at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. Yeah. And just stick to that, it will fucking gain momentum. And see, to be honest, you can't, like, I'll probably get shit for you being on this podcast.
Yeah. And
then I'll get shit if I do a podcast on my own. You should get more guests like Shane and Mickey or Aaron, you know?
Or don't get that.
Or like don't have him on again. He's fucking boring. You cannot.
He's boring. He's fucking cute, but he's boring.
Stop doing I came twice, but you know, don't. You know, it's like you can't fucking keep anyone happy. You could do 4 podcasts a week, and people are like, "Man, these are fucking saving my life at work or whatever." And then someone will be like, "You've said the same sentence twice now, so I'm unsubscribing." You know, it's like,
well, I think that about consistency, like you're working with Niall, I work with Dan, and just when I was doing my podcast myself, I would do 2 in 2 weeks, like on the same day, like on a Wednesday release, and then I'd miss 2 weeks, and then the week I brought it back, it'd be like, here it is, guys, season 2, and I'm like, I only did 2 episodes before this, you know. So actually having almost like a bit of accountability. Now it's not like if you are late doing a podcast or whatever. Well, I don't know the relationship you guys have, but it's not like Niall takes down your jeans and gets a ruler out and, you know, smacks you across the cheeks. That doesn't happen. Yeah. But well, I don't know, but it's just having someone to be like, oh shit, I better do that because this person's also putting in work.
Well, I was put at ease by Niall because I was like, you know,
because of his eyes.
I ordered a thing. Or I arranged the thing, and then I was like, do you know what? Something's popped up. I can't do that. It felt terrible. And I was like, would you be able to move this to whatever? And the famous quote, which I might get put on a plaque, was, I don't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, so it should say, you know, I'm going to get a photo, like employee of the month, and it just says...
It's inspirational.
It just says, Niall Figure, in quotes, I don't do anything.
Yeah. And the anything is in italics.
I don't
means anything.
Caps, caps, italics, anything?
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, and I've seen him work and he doesn't. I've seen him filming and he means that, like.
Yeah. He's like, you know, I'm like, can I leave you to do that one thing? And he goes, this is my only task apart from breathing and eating.
Yeah.
Till I see you next.
And there was actually, like, when he was filming at the Limelight, he was forgetting to breathe. I had to stop mid-set, and I said, "No, I think you're forgetting to breathe," because he'd gone purple.
Yeah.
And then he started taking in air. So sometimes you have to remind him,
Yeah.
to do some of those things.
Yeah. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
So, we've done 2 questions of 34. That's cool.
Sweet.
Any chance of Barry coming out of retirement? No.
Rejoining the EastEnders cast.
I don't know, like, finally people are interested in seeing me doing stuff. So I don't give a fuck about characters. Also, I'm 33, bro, so I'm not in a garage by myself putting on a bandana. Unless it's around my neck to kill myself. So, Did you hear about the guy on the bike who stabbed a woman in Belfast? Do you hear about that?
Fuck, yeah.
Because they were
I didn't know it was here at first. I didn't know it was here.
No, me neither. And it's funny because, you do so much skimming of the internet. I'd seen that picture and I was like, oh, okay. But it's funny, there's a lot of comment about, like, telling women to be, like, vigilant. And they're like, how about you tell the guy not to fucking stab people?
Yeah.
Fly around on a bike?
Do you know what it's almost like? Like, I get it. It's a real thing. I don't mean to trivialize it, but it's like an episode of Luther. You know, that kind of thing where, like, someone is
got
doing
this
this
fucking mug on a bike.
At first I was like, my first thought was, oh, that's like in London or something.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, fuck, that's actually happening here.
Police have urged women to stay in groups while outside after 3 were stabbed and 2 were punched in a spate of attacks in Belfast.
Yeah, definitely find the guy.
Ormeau Avenue, what's outside the Limelight? Second knife attack happened around 8:45 in Donegal Square West. Then University Road. Bloody hell. All 5 women. I mean, people are out of their mind. Like,
Yeah, they'll find the guy.
yeah, I mean, yeah, just fucking take him out with a rifle. That's But I mean, this is that reeks of just incel lunatic. He's like,
something
no one ever
building up.
fucking bucks me, and then I just need to stab some 19 to 22 year olds. I could stab a few myself, but not with a knife.
Fucked up.
Talking about my dick. Terrible. Thanks, Amy. Anthony Jeselnik, thoughts?
Haven't seen enough of his stand-up. Seems to be really good.
I mean, he's brilliant.
One-liners? Like
Yeah.
dark one-liners?
Yeah, very dark. Brilliant. Not my cup of tea comedically to watch, that style, but it's fucking very slick.
Yeah, I must watch more of his stuff.
Do you ever do the pinch and roll technique when scratching your balls? Just grab it and give it a wee bit of... You have a guy does yours, don't you?
A roll. Yeah. Yeah. He's called Dave Elliott.
Kombucha comes around and scratches your balls for you.
Scratch and roll?
Pinch and roll, just grab, if you like.
Just a pinch. No roll.
Just pinch and hold it.
Yeah.
Cool. Glad we cleared that up. What do you think of the BBC stand-up show only showing 2 Northern Irish comedians?
I honestly, I didn't think... I was so, like, not nervous doing it, but obviously been away from stand-up for a while. This is going to be on BBC Network. We bit, like, nervous about that. So it wasn't until the show went out and people were saying that where I was like, I actually, selfishly, didn't even think about that. You know what I mean? Because I watched some of the other ones and I thought, oh, maybe it'd just be a mix of people from all, comedians from all over on different ones. But I don't know. I don't know what the reason behind. I mean, we can think of 20 people who should have been on it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, they're obviously just trying to do something a bit fresh or trying to keep it a bit more diverse or whatever. But it's the BBC. You know what I mean? Could you fire a camera up in fucking Lavery's on a hot night, and it would be hilarious, fucking start to finish? Yeah, but it is a lot of fucking white dudes with beards. Like,
yeah,
it is. There's not a lot of diversity, but it's certainly funnier.
I don't know if I don't know. I mean, I think it was just live comedy is back, and I don't know. Was it advertised as like, here's the Belfast comedy scene? Because if it was, then
no,
it wasn't.
Think so.
Okay, so I think it'd be different if it was like,
yeah,
here's the Belfast comedy scene.
Yeah.
I think it was just, we are filming this episode in Belfast.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like.
But yeah, there's dozens and dozens of comedians who, if you were like, this is the Belfast comedy scene,
yeah,
you would be doing very well to pick 4.
For sure. Oh yeah. For sure. I'm 2 of them. How's Shane coping with fatherhood?
Yeah, good. I mean, I haven't seen him in, what is it, he's 3 months now. I haven't seen him in 2.5 months, but no, I'm only joking.
By the time the staff are done with him, you know, peck him on the head and he's away to sleep.
Do you know what's funny? You like, I didn't, you and I have talked about this a bit. I didn't realise how, obviously, like with sleeping and stuff, it gets easier as it goes along, and the first few days and weeks are hectic because you don't know what to do really with the baby. But it's not until like you look back on that and you're like, do you remember how like breakneck everything was? Like how little you were sleeping and all. Like, I totally forget that. So
like, I was talking to Dave via text. He's coming in tomorrow.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, my paternity ends like next day.
Yeah,
and you're
Monday.
like, that's insane that like that's all you get.
Yeah.
Like a couple of weeks if you have a real job. Because, you know, I remember being like fucking 2 weeks in to having Eddie and being like, I'd be going back to work now. And then even like 6-8 weeks later being like, imagine you only had 2 weeks. Like,
Yep.
And there's so many things that is, you know, it's like when you fucking have a headache and you take a paracetamol, you forget having the headache immediately. You know, there's not like trauma left behind from the. It's the same with a baby. It's like when you used to have to wake up at night and change a baby all night, and then at a certain point they sleep and you don't have to change them.
Yeah.
And you forget that immediately. Like Eddie will wake up in the middle of the night and now he's like a wee fucking gorilla. You just throw him about, move over, you fucking whatever. But like you would have had to change him, fall asleep for 2 hours, wake up, feed him, change him. You know.
Yeah. You're on a hamster wheel and you feel like you will never get off it.
Yeah.
And now, like he would normally pretty much bang on, wake up at 7, and 2 mornings ago he was like stirring at about 5:30.
Yeah.
And in my head I'm like, this is a fucking disaster. And I'm like, I'm knackered and it's 5:30. And the more I think about it, I was like, do I remember what it was like 2 months ago? Well, then what am I? Imagine
You're lying
thinking I would be in a position where I'd be
on your
complaining
phone
about
for
that.
another half an hour in
Yeah.
bed. Fuck, you know, it's like
Yeah.
you think you miss it, but if you got it for like one day, that would be enough for you.
Yeah,
Like there's
yeah,
days where I'm sending more like, Jesus Christ, just fucking need some space and all. Let me go to the office. If someone gave you half an hour, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
And by the way, the older the baby gets, the most stressful thing you can do with the baby is sit around all day in the house. Like it's less stressful and less hassle to get all packed up and go to a park and walk around and go for a coffee and take all the shit with you. And it's way easier to do that than just be in the house.
Because you don't notice if he
You
kicks
feel like
off when
you feel like you're just getting in between naps. You're like, right, he's up, he's at this, play around, getting tired, go to sleep, get up, fucking bottle, more food, and you just like that hamster wheel thing of like you're waiting for it to be 7:30 at night so you can start your day. Because you're just trying to get through the day with a baby.
And it is like.
So that's why we're selling it. But
Sorry, I kicked you. Don't sell them. Yeah, I love it.
I'm just trying to pick hot ones out of this. Do you think your sons will take up comedy? Hope not.
I think I would give a good endorsement for doing it if he really had a burning desire to do it, but I wouldn't be like suggesting that you go and do it.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad idea to suggest.
There's no point in finishing that law degree. You should do an open mic, I think.
I mean, if you suggest, like, so I would love it if my son played football when he's older, but the worst thing I could do is be like, you are a football kid every day when you're 4, and we go outside for an hour a day and kick a ball about, because then he'll never play football.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things I've learned from my childhood where I'm like, I'm going to take this on board and transfer it to Eddie, which is like, I was allowed pretty much to do, I had a lot of freedom, but I also dropped a lot of things just because I was disinterested in them. Instead of someone going, if you just stick around here a wee bit more, you'll do very well at this, or you'll learn a lot from this, or you'll like, there's so many I was good at loads of sports when I was younger, and I just fucking dropped them all. When someone should have just went, you're really good at this, why don't you hang in there, and this might go somewhere, whatever. So many sports I was just like, I don't like fucking football or whatever, and I've tons of like top goal scorer thing, loads of fucking medal, like boxes of medals from playing football, fucking gymnastics, judo, all this shit that I was just like, done with this now. Let me go drink beer and tell dick jokes.
I was very much like that with the Scouts. Don't want to present myself as a hard man, but I was in the Scouts, and I dropped that whenever I was about 14, and I really regret it, because a couple of years ago I really needed to tie a knot, And I couldn't do it.
And that's where kombucha comes in and fucking plats your moccasins back together. On a scale of 1 to 10, how raging are you that Shane was that good at hosting the limelight the other week that nobody noticed you were missing in the end? We jokes.
That is from me.
Yeah. That's from Dennis Todd. We jokes, but the big lad was great. Crowd work was second to none. On the night,
Woo!
you were second to no other MC.
I was the only MC.
How raging am I? Not at all.
I mean,
you're underestimating how much of a fuck I give about live comedy.
Yeah, it's your night. You asked me to do it, so you'd be raging if I fucked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love people. I did a workout that day. Obviously, I had to go to the fucking hospital. You know what I mean? And someone's like, "Oh, you've time for a workout, but you can't go to your own comedy night." And you're like, "What do you think I'm doing around here? Booking comedy nights and being like, well, it's just sold out. I might as well stay at home." Are you mental?
This sounds like it's going to be a great sold out night.
Yeah.
Better swerve this
Better
one.
get someone else to do it for me. I've only been working for about 10 years to get to this point where I could sell out gigs and fucking have a great time. It'd be better seen on video from home. Stupid cunt.
Yeah, and that was a fun night.
I mean, I'd rather you turn up and do a brilliant job than it'd be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Also, it's, I created the night. It's called the fucking General Banter. Of course I want it to go well.
Yeah.
Fucking dickhead. Are you looking forward to Eat Out Help Out too? No, and I'll tell you why. Because a lot of the local spots that we would go to, which are usually of a certain quality, the quality was slipping a wee bit because people were reducing their menus because the place was packed.
Yeah.
And they were just shoveling stuff out, and you're like, I see the strain that they're under here.
Yeah.
So I like my wee secret spots where I can go and they put a bit of attention on my fucking avocado on toast. You know what I mean? I love when people, like, I just get the avocado on toast. You know what I mean? And it's like fucking 8,000 calories.
Yeah.
They're like, there's 2 avocados in that, 2 eggs, 2 bacon, 2 giant bits of sourdough. You're like, it's just, I'm cutting.
Yeah.
I'm on a cut. Would either of you participate in a Last One Laughing style show? Have you seen that, the Australian one?
This might be the same guy who put it up on Instagram, and Ewan?
Connor. No.
Oh, right, okay. Would I, if we were all doing it? Yeah. You know what I mean? It'd be one of those things where, like, if we had a bit of fun doing it, and we, it depends. It depends what it's for and that kind of thing. Something like that I would probably do for the fun of it.
Yeah.
But it would be no fun if you're like, and I need to win this competition.
Yeah, I need 100 grand.
Yeah.
Well, who doesn't? Like, but it would definitely be a funny. Who do you think would be good at that? Because that someone else asked that question. Who else would who would win?
Are you talking like 5-minute sets?
No, have you seen the show?
No.
They're just, it's like a Big Brother type scenario where they're just in a room together for 4 hours or something. So you have 4 hours, and they give them drinks. You do anything, and there's something you do, like you have a red card or something, and when you show it, you get 3 minutes undivided attention from everybody. So I explained this to fucking Mickey or something last week. Say I was saying something really funny to you, you can just go like and walk away because you know you're gonna laugh. But if I pull the card out, everybody has to watch you, and some of them are genius. But like, there are some like.
Do you know what I think would be good at that? Mark McCartney.
Well, he would probably just sit there
He
and
doesn't overdo it. You know what I mean? Like he knows when he's got something funny to say.
Yeah.
And when he's just going to relax because.
And he'll just sit on it for hours and just hit you with something. Yeah,
exactly.
Like the people who are fucking manic, like a Mickey, running about and fucking lifting shit and doing jokes and whatever. You would be able to distract yourself from that, but it'll be the person who just like the one sniper shot, just like bang.
Yep.
I don't know if I'd be good at it or not. I don't think I would be I'm good at not laughing.
Right.
But I don't know if I'd be good at making
I'm
other
not.
people laugh.
I'm giggly. Like.
Depends how fucking weird I got. Like if it was fucking half pissed and got a bit silly.
Yeah.
But I'm not one of those complete lunatics, like a fucking Bobby Lee where you'd have your cock out in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Be about an hour before I get my dick.
Oh fuck! How long have we been on for?
Yeah. Where's the merch at? Fuck that. Shanto, give us the truth about Boytown. Yeah, everyone's looking to hear the dirt.
It's very much of a letdown. The reality of why we stopped doing it. It's literally just a timing issue.
I mean, it's like why there's a lot of bands that break up, and you're like, why? And there's like, well, such and such had a baby.
And do you know why we kind of ended it as well? Because it was really funny towards the last ones we did.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't know we were going to finish it.
Yeah.
We're like, let's do it before it becomes really shit. We're doing it over Zoom, which isn't ideal.
Yeah.
So we're like, this has been really funny. Let's leave it there. Because there was times where Dave was like, are we putting enough into this? And I was like, oh yeah, 100%. I was like, we're going to keep, even though I knew like this doesn't make sense for us to be doing still.
Yeah.
And then it would flip and I'd be like, I don't know, do we have enough time for this? And he, you know, because we love doing it so much. And then I think we remembered as well, we're like, well, you know, he's one of my best friends and vice versa. So like, it's not like the podcast is keeping us being friends.
No.
So I think part of it was a subconscious thing where you're like, if we stop meeting once a week and chatting to do this, are we going to see each other as much? And
But
like, yeah,
like
probably
he's done that, but you've done each other's podcasts
Yeah.
over Zoom since.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like I suppose it doesn't really matter what fucking title it has. Like
yeah.
When does the trust fund run out?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, it has. It has. Unfortunately, I don't have a trust fund.
Do you think people would be like...
The perception of like...
I think me and you probably come from the same sort of pretty boring... working classy.
Yeah.
It's not in any way anything.
Yeah, like I
You didn't come from the fucking mean streets.
Yeah.
You're just like come from a house and
You come from like the nice part. Both of us probably come from just about the nice part of Main Streets, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like the
I definitely grew
of,
up between two shitholes. Like
yeah, like the perception of like between two ferns, but
yeah.
But the perception of like the background, I find fascinating when people are like, oh, posh guy and all, and I like. You don't want to be like not defensive, but you don't want to be like, listen. They actually it's like this to the point where now I'm like, yeah, whatever you think is going to be whatever it is. But like, yeah, I mean,
I don't even know what a trust fund is, to be honest. It's a very American thing, is it?
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, getting like a certain allowance maybe every year or something like that.
Cool. I owe my dad £200 from about 8 years ago, and he still hasn't fucked up about it. Whose baby would win in a brawl? Well, how old is Noah?
3 months.
And he's probably the same weight as Eddie, who's nearly a year.
Yeah, but Eddie's going to have more awareness about him.
Yeah.
I think.
He also has the grip strength of a chimp.
Right.
Which is like... Actually, borderline, like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, if he has something or he grabs something...
He's got teeth too.
He's got a full
He's
set.
got advantage.
He's been to Turkey and he's not even won. He's got a full set of fucking veneers in there.
Remember when I was said in the podcast last week, whenever everybody was kicking off about Rishi Sunak saying like you need to get a real job, that 100%, that 100% sounds like where the loyalist paramilitary guys go to get their teeth done.
Oh yeah,
me and the boys are heading over to Rishi Sunak here, get the veneers done.
Yeah, the fucking Rishi's on this content. Fuck you. Shout out to Rishi. I couldn't remember his name earlier. I went through what was I calling him? Fucking Rikishi. Fucking everything. I was like, what the fuck is his name? So racist.
Rikishi.
There's so many questions. Could you get Stephen Nolan on your podcast?
I thought about it, and then I think it would be too much like hassle. You know, you'd have to like. What I would never want to do really is send it on for like, do you have any notes here, or like, can you edit? I don't know. It would be like that, but I imagine he's got to be careful about what he says.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, you know, I would hate to like do an episode and be like, I think it'd be better not to put that out. I'm not saying it would be like that, but that would be my fear. Like, I understand if we're doing a podcast and you say something, I don't know, personal about yourself or your home life, and then you're like, actually
take
cut
that out.
Yeah, easily just take that out. But if it's like, you know, a long bit or whatever, and there's a stupid reason to take it out, I would get pissed off with that.
I've had stuff. We were both involved in stuff with some rugby folk that wasn't allowed to go out because it was a bit edgy and it was good, like, but you know, but
I don't know. Yeah,
I think he's just like, listen, I've got this is my job here. I'm a broadcaster in this area, and that's it. I can't be. If he retired, you'd get him probably. You know,
I think it'd be a good podcast. I think it'd be an interesting podcast.
Yeah, it'd be good if you did it. Like, if he was on this podcast, it'd be be a disaster. Like, I think we have a clip going out from the previous podcast about him.
Oh boy,
where I was shouting, pretend I was him in a mask shouting at people, but I had a bit like one of those Belvita biscuits there, and I was chewing it while I was shouting. It was disgusting. Tea with Me podcast. Right, we'll wrap this up very shortly. 2 questions. What's one thing you and Shane wish you'd have known when you started your career?
That it'll be all right. I know, in fact, I don't wish I'd have known that. You know what I mean? Like,
I would say like there's not gonna be one event that changes everything.
Yeah.
Because you're always thinking like, I'm gonna get a fucking Netflix deal, and you're like, no, you're not, dickhead. Things are just gonna slowly snowball, and you have to just like look back a year or two every time and be like, is this improving? This improving?
It's impossible to predict. That would be handy to know, because I used to every year up until like 3 years ago make like year targets.
Yeah.
And they were very general, some of them,
yeah,
but horrendously unrealistic, because you can't prove you can't predict anything, like so.
Yeah.
So I think just going with it more would have benefited me.
Yeah. Yeah. It is weird.
I'm not philosophical like that though. You know what I mean?
Any goals I have now are like lifestyle. It's not like one thing. You know, it's like, it's not like I'm going, all right, I'm gonna fucking get this, and you know, I want to get a fucking TV thing. You know, they've never been my goals. But for example, whereas now it's like I would like to
go to Rishi Sunak and get the teeth done.
Go to Rishi, get the hair transplant.
Yeah.
Not on my head though, just fill the beard out. You know, it is more of it'd be like, could I stay in an Airbnb in LA for a month?
Yeah.
And it not affect me financially? You know, I'm more like, that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
Can I fucking, do I have to do as many stand-up gigs? Can I do more stuff over here? Because, you know, whatever. I don't know. It's more like that. It's not like, I need a fucking Lamborghini.
Yes.
You know, it's like
of course.
stupid goals.
Yeah.
Final question, then we'll get the fuck out of here. Did you see the video of Thon Spastic shouting "fuck the Pope" over the Tesco Tano in Ballymena? I did not.
No, but I mean, I can picture it definitely in my head.
It's funnier than people farting down them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it would. You know, if you know, we've done stand up in Ballymena. Last 2 tour shows I've done there have been 2 of the best of the tour. But I've definitely done. Yep, I've done.
I won't be back.
But what I was going to say is I've done a lot of gigs in different venues in the town, and people are like, they don't like dirty stuff.
Yeah.
And I've definitely had a lot of bad shows there too. They don't like dirty stuff, but if you say anything political as out there as you want, they're totally open for that. But if you said the word, you know, areola,
yeah,
they'd shut someone to bring the fire, someone to pull the fire cord, and be like, let's evacuate the building.
Yeah, you'd be like, the Pope fucks kids, and be like, fucking, what's your language, would you? Sorry, the Pope makes love to kids. Fucking more like it. Have some fucking manners around here. Anyway, give me that Tano. Dung dung. Fuck the Pope. You imagine that? It's like, dung dung.
Tracy, could you make your way to customer services, please? And fuck the Pope.
That's how they sign off.
That's how they sign
messages.
Where's 2 for 1 on packets of mints today? Fuck the Pope.
We have an Mbongo spillage in aisle 6. What else here? Oh yes, someone has handed in a wallet to the front desk under the name Rishi Sunak. And lastly, fuck a Pope. Thank you. Bing bong.
The meal deal today includes chicken and bacon pasta, a Sprite, and a fruit of your choosing. Fuck the Pope.
Oh, right. Let's get out of here and go to Nandos. Nandos!
Yeah.
That's the only reason you agreed to do a podcast, isn't it?
100%. If your office was 5 miles.
I'd be like, don't do the podcast.
Direction.
You're like, rephrase it. Would you like a Nando's after the podcast? Yes.
Yes.
Fuck the Pope.
I'm in. Very cheeky.
Right, okay. Cheers for joining me, Shane.
Cheers.
Congratulations on the new baby.
Cheers for having me.
All that carry on. Let's go to Nando's. Cheers for listening, guys. General Banter Podcast. What is it? Patreon.com/General Banter Podcast. Are you sponsored by the Ball Shavers?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my code. It's going to kick in next week. It's going to be like, get your taint out and fucking shave the fuck out of it.
And then you'll finish it by saying,
fuck the Pope. Well, we know what the name of the podcast is this week anyway. Right. Take care of yourselves, guys. We're out of here.
cheers.
Bye.